That's where that strongest part of the storm is. As we go throughout the rest of our afternoon here, we're going to continue to watch this. We do have a look outside, though, at this storm that is pointed in that direction. You can see the dark base there. It's likely that we don't have a great view here right now of the area of rotation that we're keeping an eye on, but we do still have that storm that is moving through there. You can see the dark skies and the deep cloud bases there. As far as the storm goes right now, we'll take a look at exactly where we're going to go with this as we move throughout the next couple of minutes here, and we'll kind of time this out a little bit. And the direction that it's moving is generally off to the south and east. It's a little bit further to the south than some of the other storms that are moving here. Here's a look at some of the times for you. We're talking about Rich Church here by 3:17. So if you're in that area and you know where that is, here's a couple of landmarks here for you. The Burlington School by 3:23, North Branch by 3:26, and Eagle School by 3:28. If you go further to the south there, you've got the Clear Lake School, and then that's going to be around 3:38 as well. So again, continuing to move off to the south and east, it is possible that we see a little bit of a turn in this as well. We'll take a look here at right now. There is no current indication that, again, there is a tornado on the ground, but we do have a storm that is capable of producing a tornado based on the current look at the radar that we have. It's able to detect whether or not a tornado might be possible. The storm is rotating right now, and again, you can see that moving throughout parts of southern Tuscola County into northern Lapeer County. Backing out a little bit here to see the big picture, you can see that we have other showers and storms that are developing across mid-Michigan. We've got some back here in parts of Saginaw County and Gratiot County developing there. Also down in Shiawassee, Genesee, and southern Lapeer County, and also southern Sanilac County. We've got a cold front draped through here, and the current position of that cold front is about right through here, and it is continuing to move off to the south. So after these showers and storms pass you, it's likely that we have clearer conditions for you for the rest of the evening. But again, keeping an eye on this shower, the showers and thunderstorms that we have right now, this stronger thunderstorm that is moving throughout southern parts of Tuscola County and northern Lapeer County. We'll go ahead and pause it here, and we'll take a look at the rotation that we have, because we are keeping an eye on that rotation that we have out there for parts of the area. And essentially what we see here is when we have these reds and greens mixing together, that is what we're talking about in regards to the chance for some of this rotation. And I'll draw right here. This is essentially what we have just to the south of Mayville. We're looking at right along M24 here. There's a small area of rotation. We might also have a couple of other smaller areas due to how turbulent this storm is just back on the other side. So again, it's the red and green that we're seeing mix between these two areas here on M24 in northern Lapeer County and southern Tuscola County. We're keeping a close eye on that. And again, Matt, what we're keeping an eye on here, there are no reports for us right now. There's no indication that we have a tornado ongoing, but we do have this cold front moving through with some strong storms on it. And again, we do have that tornado warning. Here's another look at that. That's for southern parts of Tuscola County and northern Lapeer County, as we do have a strong storm moving through that area right now. Matt, again, as far as I can tell, we don't have any indication that there is anything currently on the ground with this, but we are just tracking that rotation that's moving through.
Yeah, absolutely, Kyle. And I've been able to zoom in on this a little bit more with our other weather computer, with our other radar on it. And this storm, specifically the rotation that we're seeing right now near the Mayville area, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. And I'm going to ask our director, is it possible that we can take our other Max computer for just a second there? Got a couple of local road names around the Mayville area to pop up. There we go. We have Mertz Road and we have Brown Road. So this is over just to the south and over to the west of Mayville, the downtown Mayville area. But you see that couplet there, the red and the green next to each other. That's that rotation that we're keeping an eye on. That couplet is right between, or rather just to the east of Mertz Road at the moment, to the south of Mayville, and then over to the west of M24 and the Clifford Road area. So if you live anywhere near here, this is definitely going to be a time to take shelter, get to that lowest and centermost part of your house, as we do have that rotation there. Again, this storm is capable of producing a tornado, so that's the reason why this tornado, or rather this storm does have that tornado warning on it from the National Weather Service. Once again, this storm moving over to the east and slightly to the southeast too, and around 25 to 30 miles per hour. So it is a slower storm, but it is that rotation that we're still seeing that we're keeping an eye on, because that is where we could actually see a tornado dropping from the storm and actually touching down to the ground. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out on this just a little bit once again and get another cone on the storm. So again, the storm is moving at about 25 to 30 miles per hour towards the south and the east. So we'll take this out by about 15 minutes. This is going to bring up Silverwood by around 3:10 p.m. this afternoon. So we have around 9 minutes until this is closer to the Silverwood area. I'll go ahead and draw another cone on here too to try to include a few more towns. This is essentially stemming right from the Mayville area. We'll go out about 30 minutes from now. This is going to include Silverwood by 3:10, Burlington School at around 3:17, Clifford also at 3:17, Eagle School at 3:21, and then Marlette right around 3:26 to 3:27, so just before the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. So again, if you're located in any of these areas in northern Lapeer County, southern Tuscola County, and that southwestern corner of Sanilac County, that's where we're going to need to keep an eye on the storm. Be prepared to head to shelter, especially if you're in Mayville right now. Once again, you want to find that lowest and centermost part of your house. Just try to put as many walls between you and those exterior walls and windows. Kyle, I did see something, I think, from the National Weather Service. Do we have another update coming in from them?
Right now, I'm keeping an eye on it at the moment. What we do have is actually a photo from parts of southern Tuscola County where we do actually see what we call a wall cloud, which is essentially the storm base lowering to the point where it's very near to the ground, and it's also rotating. Now, it's not a tornado, but it is typically what we consider a precursor to a tornado, and that is a picture that we see here from parts of just between Mayville and Juniata there. So we're keeping an eye on that. But this is a look at the active tornado warning for us right now. As you can see, this is going to go until 3:30 p.m. for this initial tornado warning here, and it includes parts of southern Lapeer County, or southern Tuscola County, excuse me, and northern Lapeer County. It includes Millington, Mayville, parts of Kingston, and just to the west of Marlette as well. So again, keeping an eye on this. This is a look at what we're tracking right now. It is currently a storm that is rotating, but not necessarily doing anything as far as ongoing a tornado at the time. At this moment is essentially what we'll say there. We are keeping an eye on that. Let's back out here and let's take a look at that radar for us right now. And specifically, we'll look at the rotation. And it's this area of red and green that we're keeping an eye on that has started to kind of space itself out of here, Matt, a little bit. So essentially what this means for us is it's weakening just a little bit. The rotation isn't as strong as it was when the tornado warning was first issued. So that is a good sign for us. But again, we are still tracking that. This is now currently just to the east of M24 here in parts of, it's just crossed from Tuscola into Lapeer County. So we're keeping a close eye on this. As far as what the actual radar looks like for us, it's a pretty strong storm. And as you can see, it is passing just to the south here of Mayville now, where that area of rotation is. The heaviest rain and some of the hail, like you were mentioning, still in parts of the area. So we're keeping a close eye on that. But as far as the actual rotation goes at this time, it is currently only rotation within the cloud base as far as we can tell. There is no indication that it is currently on the ground, but we are keeping a very close eye on this. And again, the latest talk from the National Weather Service here is just that we have a large wall cloud that is currently rotating near the Mayville area that is now, of course, passed just a little bit to the south as the storm has sunk a little to the south as well, though it does appear that we might have a little bit of a recycling here at this time, actually, Matt, where you can start to see the reds and greens here in the last scan. This is essentially the velocity within the storm that we're watching here has started to get closer together. So we are keeping an eye on how it appears that we might have a little bit of a strengthening here in the rotation within the last scan. We'll have to watch this over the next couple of minutes to see how this evolves, but it appears that we might have a little bit of not intensification, but rather some organization of that rotation.
Exactly. Once again, are kind of a bit of a retightening of that rotation. Once again, if you're to the south of Silverwood, so this is in the northern parts of Lapeer County, pretty much right on the county line there, and to the east of M24. If you're in this location south of Silverwood, you'll want to be finding shelter immediately right now. Again, this storm is capable of producing a tornado because of the rotation that we are seeing there. Now, another thing that we have seen in the map, and Kyle, I'm going to ask if you could go over to the western part of Tuscola County and eastern Saginaw County by Reese. There's another storm popping up on the radar that we've just started to see that has some broad rotation to it. There's no tornado warning on that storm, but it is something that have been noticing just now on the radar a little bit farther towards the north and the west there. We do see that storm near Reese again right now. That's where we do see at least a stronger storm here. This one again is not tornado warned, but it is still on the stronger side, and there is some broad rotation to this storm. I'm going to pull up our rotation on this one once again. We can see that this storm near Reese does again have that broad rotation to this. So this is something that we're going to watch, and even with some of the hail and the wind that's going to be possible with this too, if you're located between Reese and Richville, so right along M15, M81 where they intersect, you'll want to head to shelter too, as this storm is going to be on the stronger side. It's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes for that storm to pass over that exact location, but again, we are seeing some of that broad rotation there, so another reason to at least keep an eye on that storm. And Kyle, we did just see that tornado warning into Tuscola County and Lapeer County scaled back a little bit, at least the western part of that. So showing that the storm is continuing to make that eastward advance.
Right, yes, it absolutely is. And it's starting to mostly leave, as far as the rotation part is, the area of business, if you will, that we're keeping an eye on, has started to leave Tuscola County. It's now moving into parts of northern Lapeer County. So there's no all clear yet for Tuscola County, but we're getting close to that point. Essentially what we've seen here is a scaling back of that tornado warning. So now we just have Mayville included in this, Silverwood, Clifford, just to the west of Marlette is included in this tornado warning, just south of Kingston, south of East Dayton, everywhere kind of in that little triangle there, north of West Branch there in northern Lapeer County. So we're keeping an eye on that. And again, it's this area outlined in black here that we're keeping an eye on. And overall, we're watching how we do have a little bit of rotation within this. Overall, it doesn't appear to be too strong at the moment. Most of the rotation that we have seen has just been within the cloud base, not necessarily as a tornado on the ground just yet. Though I am keeping an eye on how it does appear to be strengthening just a little bit for us, not necessarily strengthening, maybe a tightening is a better way to put that right now, which does mean that the storm is still organized and still capable of producing a tornado. Of course, we do still have the tornado warning ongoing for us right now, and what we can do here is just take a quick look at what that looks like for us. And again, it is this tornado warning, the area outlined in red here, and that is for parts of southern and southeastern Tuscola County and northern Lapeer County as well. And that warning goes until 3:30. We also have the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Tuscola County that likely won't be around for too much longer, as it does expire at 3:15, and that is, of course, for parts of Tuscola County. Places further to the north, if you are hearing Tuscola County and wondering if you still are underneath of this or if you might be in the path of this storm, let's take a look at that right now, and we'll kind of give some places that all clear. Right now, Caro, Delford, Cass City, Akron, Unionville, Glifford. We have Vassar here that is in the way of another storm that will be moving down. Not the tornado warned storm, so no all clear yet for Vassar, because we still have a storm that's going to be moving through there. But other areas further up here to the north, they are in the all clear as far as this ongoing tornado warning. Again, we are still keeping an eye on this. A zoom in here shows us that Silverwood, Clifford, Mayville still under the gun of this current storm. So we're, again, keeping an eye on this right now. And again, tornado warning for parts of southern Tuscola and northern Lapeer counties. Matt, right now I don't see anything from the Weather Service as far as an update for us just yet. There still does appear to be rotation on this storm here. Let's take a closer look at that now that we're getting a new scan in here. And it's going to zoom me out, but I'll zoom back in here really quick. And it does appear that we might have a broadening of this rotation a little bit, Matt. Definitely in the last scan here, it seems to have definitely gotten a little bit larger. We'll back up a couple scans. Here's where it's very unorganized, Matt. You can see that it's the reds and greens really aren't touching too much, but as we go forward, we've kind of seen an increase in the amount of area encompassed in the red and green, or the inbound and outbound winds of that storm. And so that does suggest that the rotation here might be strengthening just a little bit. At least the area of rotation has gotten larger. So that does mean that nobody is in the all clear just yet if you are still within this tornado warning, because we still have a storm capable of producing some rotation here again. So that's parts of Silverwood and Clifford there. And again, we're keeping an eye on this. And it looks like right now most of that rotation is now almost entirely within parts of northern Lapeer County.
Yes, Kyle, at this point we are in northern Lapeer County, just to the south of the county line with this rotation. But like you mentioned, Kyle, this is definitely still a bit more of an organized rotation that we're seeing out of this storm. I do have a couple of road names pulled up here too, near Silverwood and Clifford. So if you're south of Clifford Road, right between Jefferson and Silverwood roads, this is an area where you're still going to want to head to shelter. Make sure you are heading to shelter in advance of the storm. And even going a little bit farther to the east of this rotation that we're seeing in Clifford. So this is where you're starting to get closer to M53 and our other county line. This is also over by just south of Clifford Road, and even our county roads like 36 and County Road 9. You'll still want to take shelter if you are just ahead of the storm off towards the east. But once again, we have our more broad rotation rotation that we're seeing here right now with the storm definitely organized. It's right between these red and greens where we do have that possibility for a tornado to drop from this storm. And this storm has been ongoing now for about 15 or 20 minutes. Definitely still on the stronger side. And this is something that we have seen with more of these storms that have been starting to fire up recently here. Again, that storm that's near Reese and Vassar just over to our northwest of here. That storm also on the stronger side. But this is the one that is still tornado warned at this point. That rotation in the storm is now entirely into northern Lapeer County. But if you're still located right near Silverwood and Clifford, again, right along Clifford Road, essentially as that travels over towards M53, you're going to want to head to shelter immediately. Again, just try to get as many walls between you and the exterior of your house and those windows. Just try to head to shelter because the storm is still going to be capable of producing a tornado because it does have that rotation embedded within this. Kyle, any other updates on that storm just over to our northwest?
Yeah, we're actually keeping an eye on this one, actually starting to move into Vassar right now. It doesn't look like a whole lot compared to the one that is currently tornado warned, and it is not tornado warned at this time. We're keeping a close eye on it here, but we do actually have a little bit of rotation in this one now. Again, there is no active tornado warning on this at this time, but we are keeping an eye on what appears to be some gradually maybe strengthening or at least organizing rotation. We'll pull that up for you right now, and we'll kind of take a look at this. And again, you can see an area of reds and greens kind of mixing here just to the east of Richville. What that suggests is that we have some turbulent air in this storm's base that could eventually become some rotation here, and that is essentially just off to the east here of M15 and M46, just north of M46 there. You can see this area right here, and here's Vassar down here. It is just to the north and east of Vassar, and we can kind of get a look at some distance here as far as where this is to Vassar. It's about 3 or 4 miles from Vassar right now. We do have an update here and a severe thunderstorm warning. I'll read that off once it loads in here, Matt, but it does look like we have another update here at 3:14. This is a severe thunderstorm warning with this is for parts of Sanilac and Lapeer County. So this is the other one that we're keeping an eye on right now. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning. It's an extension of the storm that is tornado warned, and so this is essentially what we're keeping an eye on here. So Matt, what we have here is it's another severe thunderstorm warning, and it's kind of an extension of the tornado warning right now. So it's not necessarily saying that because it's a severe thunderstorm warning, it is less than a tornado warning. It is just kind of a way to get those areas a little more ahead of the curve as far as being aware and ready.
Absolutely, yeah. Tornado is still going to be possible out of that storm, at least for the time being. So if you are located in places like Marlette, again, right along that M53 corridor, even near Brown City and Peck, over towards M19, this is now into Sanilac County, Applegate, Croswell. You're all still under the severe thunderstorm warning. This is an extension of that tornado warning, that storm that we have been tracking since about the Mayville area, southern Tuscola County and northern Lapeer County. Now, we're still not going to leave the air until that tornado warning has gone away because, again, this storm still definitely has the capability to drop a tornado with that rotation that we're seeing within that. But that storm is currently entirely, at least the rotation, is entirely into northern Lapeer County. And as that does move, that rotation itself is just going to move just to the south of the Marlette area, basically moving right between Marlette and Brown City. But if you're still located in any of these areas now, that northeastern corner of Lapeer County, southwestern corner of Sanilac County, you'll still want to head to shelter in advance of the storm moving through. You still have about 5 to 10 minutes before this does start to reach into that southwestern corner of Sanilac County, but the storm is still on that stronger side. And even in addition to the rotation and the possibility of a tornado out of this storm, the storm is still bringing some stronger wind gusts right around 60 miles per hour, and even some hail, larger hail, about 1 inch in diameter is going to be possible with this. Thank you, Kyle, for pulling up some of those locations. We have Flynn coming in here at around 3:41 this afternoon, Peck at 3:52 for when that rotation of that storm is expected to reach the Peck area. Parafield at around 4 o'clock, Buell at 4:01, Croswell at 4:11. We have Arnold Field at 4:13, and then Amador at around 4:16 p.m. So this storm continuing to make that south and eastern trek into the eastern parts of the thumb. Kyle, do we have any other updates from the National Weather Service? I'm trying to check myself if we do have anything else new from them.
I don't see anything new from them at the moment. The last thing that came out here was that most recent severe thunderstorm warning, but what we do see actually is still the area of rotation for both of these storms that we're keeping an eye on. The one that is currently tornado warned at this time, but we are again watching how, apologies for the technical difficulties there you see at the top of your screen, but what we do have here is again still a tornado warning for southern parts of Tuscola and northern parts of Lapeer County. activity. And essentially what we're keeping an eye on here is the fact that we have an area where we have some rotation within the cloud base, but there is no tornado warning on the ground at this time as far as we can tell. And it does look like for the most part, all of this rotation has now left Tuscola County. We do have, though, an additional storm up near Vassar. And again, apologies for the technical difficulties on your screen at the moment, but we do have another small area of rotation just to the north of Vassar. We're keeping an eye on that. There's another storm up that way that does look to be moving down towards, or more than likely just to the north and east of Vassar, and it'll kind of continue on that track down towards the south and east for us. Essentially, what we have here is a cold front moving throughout parts of mid-Michigan here that does have the opportunity to continue to produce these showers and storms that aren't overly strong, but they do have some rotation in them, and that's exactly what we've seen so far today. Again, here's a look at what we're keeping an eye on right now as these showers and storms moving throughout the area, and as you can see here, we're looking at this stronger storm that has now moved into parts of northern Lapeer County, and it has had a little bit of rotation on it at times, and essentially that rotation has, for the most part, started to fade a little bit. We've seen a little bit in the way of some kind of some cycling where we're going in and out of a strengthening, and then it weakens and strengthens and weakens. So that's kind of the story for us thus far. Now, things at the moment, it doesn't appear that we have a tornado on the ground. There is no word from the National Weather Service as to whether or not that is currently the case. We do have another severe thunderstorm warning that looks to be issued right now. Let me figure out exactly where this is. Okay, so this is a new severe thunderstorm warning for southern Tuscola County, and this goes until 4:15 p.m. This is the Vassar thunderstorm that we're keeping an eye on here. It is moving east at 45 miles per hour. The hazard is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. It is radar indicated, but we do still have the opportunities here. And there is no mention at this time of a tornado potential with this Vassar storm, but we are still keeping a very close eye on it for us. And overall, again, we're looking at this storm here in parts of northern Lapeer County that we're keeping an eye on. As far as where this storm goes, it's going to continue off to the south and east here. And we'll kind of take a look at where this goes for us as we kind of walk through the rest of the afternoon. We're continuing again to watch how we have this area of showers and storms moving throughout parts of mid-Michigan, and I know it's hard to see there on your screen. Apologies for that, but we are continuing to track that. Again, what we're watching here is the showers and storms developing on this cold front, and we do have one right now that is tornado warned, and that tornado warning is for southern Tuscola and northern Lapeer counties. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties on your screen. It appears that we might have a few technical difficulties within the building at the moment. But again, what we're watching here, tornado warning, southern parts of Tuscola County, northern Lapeer. It does look like, for the most part right now, that most of that activity, and there we go, it looks like we've got Max working again for us at the moment, Matt. Can we actually take Max 2 if that's pulled up at the moment? Can we pull that up? There we go. There's a better look at where this rotation is near the Vassar area, again, just to the northeast of Vassar. For the folks in the booth, can we leave it on Max 2 here for a minute? I'm going to give Max 1 a restart at the moment. It's giving me a little bit of a fit at the moment. But anyway, here's a look at those current two storms that we're keeping an eye on. Matt, do you want to touch on the rotation that we have here?
Yeah, absolutely, Kyle. I'll take over from you here for a little bit. So these are the two storms that we're still watching right now into the thumb. So we have our storm that's actually tornado warned. The rotation of that storm is entirely in northern Lapeer County as of right now. So we can see this starting to head towards M90, M53. The rotation itself on that storm is going to go to the south of Marlette. But if you're still anywhere to the south of Marlette, near the M53 corridor where it intersects with Clifford Road, you're going to want to head to shelter because that storm is still going to be possible, at least able to produce a tornado. We do have our other storm that we're still watching near the Vassar area. Notice that that does have some rotation on it in a bit of a similar fashion to that storm that's moving through northern Lapeer County as of right now. I'll actually zoom us forward here onto the map a little bit and zoom in on that one location. If my remote will work, I'll go ahead and zoom in on our computer over here. But that storm that we have near Vassar, it's just to the north of Vassar, and we're still seeing some rotation on that. So with our storm that we have north of Vassar as of right now, we're still going to watch that rotation. I'd say better safe than sorry. If you're north of Vassar to the northeast of Vassar, you'll still want to head in. I'll go ahead and zoom in on these roads a little bit more. So we have roads like Waterman Road, Kirk Road, Van Wagenen Road. We have even Monroe Street, Vassar Road itself, and we have Higgins Road. So all these roads that are over to the north and east of Vassar. We still have at least a rotating thunderstorm heading into that location, so you'll definitely still want to head inside, seek some shelter, because even if that storm isn't exactly producing a funnel at the moment, it is still going to bring some stronger wind gusts that could be near 60 miles per hour and even some larger hail with that storm too. So once again, we're watching that storm in addition to the storm that we still have over in northern Lapeer County. That's the storm that still currently has a tornado warning on this. So I'll pop up that tornado warning once again onto our map. It looks like our map is lagging behind just a little bit, but we have our tornado warning still currently right now into northern Lapeer County. The rotation on that storm as of right now is still to the south of Clifford and moving over towards M53 and to the south of Marlette. So if you're heading to shelter soon, just remember to head to the lowest and centermost part of your house. Try to put as many walls between you and the exterior walls and windows of your house. And this is, again, because this storm is capable of producing a tornado. We still have our tornado warning, and we are still seeing our rotation on that storm just over to the south of the Clifford area at the moment. So if you are just tuning in right now and just joining us, we're again watching two storms into the central parts of mid-Michigan at the moment. We have a storm that's currently tornado warned. That storm is still moving entirely through northern Lapeer County at the moment. That's the storm that has that tornado warning. And even though the rotation is just about to leave the warning, there is a severe thunderstorm warning over to the east of that storm. And that is still more so an extension of that tornado warning. So definitely you'll still want to head to shelter with that storm, as it is on the stronger side. Our other storm that we're watching is closer to the Vassar area. It's just to the north of Vassar, and although again this storm doesn't have a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning on it, we are seeing some rotation on this, so you definitely will want to be on the safer side with this. And actually, Kyle has an update for us now.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in here for a second. It appears that we have a data feed issue currently on our Max system, so that's what you're seeing right now on your screen. What I can do for you right now is I'm just going to have to talk over the top of that right now, Matt. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is currently in effect for parts of southern Tuscola County. That goes until 4:15 p.m. There's a severe thunderstorm located near Vassar, moving east at 45. It's got 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail, and again, it does have some very broad, which means very weak rotation. Currently nothing that would suggest that there's an active tornado threat for that storm. And that storm is currently just almost passed over Vassar at this point. We do still have some heavy rain in Vassar, but the majority of the storm is just off to the north and east of Vassar. That's where we've got some heavy rain moving through there, also potentially some small hail. Now, the other storm that is currently tornado warned is off to the east, and that is, again, passing throughout southern parts of Tuscola County and northern Lapeer County. We do have some heavy rain in there. We potentially have a little bit of rotation still lingering, though it does look to have weakened and also become a little bit more unorganized, which essentially means that the conditions that we have out there are going to be improving a little bit as far as the chance for actually seeing a tornado develop here. And that'll continue to move off to the east throughout portions of northern Lapeer County and towards parts of eastern Sanilac County as we move forward. Now, as far as the rest of mid-Michigan, if you're tuning in from anywhere else, we are still keeping an eye on some storms in southern Saginaw County, parts of Gratiot County as well, and Genesee County right over Flint. We have a heavier downpour. At this time, there is no indication that any of these do pose an immediate threat for any significant severe weather or tornado at this time. Matt, does it look like we might have a little bit of some help here from Max? Does it look like it's come back for us?
Looks like our warnings are starting to come back into our system now. So once again, we do have our tornado warning that has just recently been issued for Tuscola County. That's for that thunderstorm that's north of Vassar. That severe thunderstorm warning for the storm that's north of Vassar, that goes until 4:15 this afternoon. So we still have about 50 minutes left on that warning. Once again, with that storm, we have seen some rotation with it. It's more of a broad rotation, but this is still a storm where you'll want to, at least if you're out ahead of this, so that means if you're over to the north and the east of Vassar, you'll want to still head indoors, let the storm pass on through, because it is still going to be on the stronger side. We still have our tornado warning in northern Lapeer County. Now, that tornado warning has been scaled back even more. It still does include Clifford, also includes North Branch. Now, the actual rotation itself here is to the north of, rather to the north of North Branch. So I think if you're in North Branch, you'll at least be on the safer side of this. Still some reason to at least keep an eye out for the storm, but we definitely are still seeing some rotation where a tornado is going to be possible from this. That storm is moving just to the south of the Clifford area at the moment, heading towards M53. So this will move right between Marlette and Burnside. I'll go ahead and pause our map here on our most recent scan that we we have of that data. Once again, you can see that storm, that rotation that's just to the south of Clifford, and that's moving towards M53 at the moment. I'll go ahead and zoom our map back out once again just so we can see where we're currently sitting with our storms and our warnings at the moment. So we currently are still watching these storms that are moving right through the middle of the thumb. There's a tornado warning for the northeastern corner of Lapeer County, also southern Sanilac County, essentially anywhere south of M46. That's under a severe thunderstorm warning, and we also have a severe thunderstorm warning from about Caro and anywhere south in Tuscola County. That's once again because of that storm that we're seeing right near the Vassar area right now. That storm is moving over towards the south and the east. That storm's still on the stronger side as well. And Kyle, it is looking like we have our other computer back as of right now.
Yes, that's right, Matt. It sounds like it just needed a breath of fresh air, and poor timing for that to happen. But we do still have, again, a couple of storms that we're keeping an eye on. And this right here, the black outline, that is the tornado warned storm that we're keeping an eye on. And you can see that the tornado warning is likely going to be set to expire here because they have not extended it yet into parts of Sanilac County. You can also see that there's not a whole lot of green in here, or red rather, in here either. Backing up a little bit, you can see that we had some more red and green mixing here, and it has since gotten to be much weaker. So that would suggest to us that the actual rotation within the originally tornado-warned storm has started to weaken. There is no all clear for that yet, but we are still keeping an eye on it. Zooming out a little bit, here's what we have for us right now. We're keeping an eye on this this area right here that is currently starting to transition for most of the area of rotation now into parts of Sanilac County. This is this black line here. This is Lapeer and the Sanilac County line. This is the area of rotation. So it's starting to transition from Lapeer into Sanilac County, and we do have a severe thunderstorm warning currently for Sanilac County for this storm, and it essentially is a warning of the chance for some inch-size hail, some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and the tornado potential possible. Now, we're also keeping an eye on another storm that is currently also back in parts of Tuscola County, and it is currently just off to, it's basically between Vassar and Mayville right now, and you can see there's more red and green mixed there for us right now, so we're keeping an eye on that. Overall, we don't have any indication right now from the National Weather Service that there is any ongoing tornado at this time. There have been no reports of that at the moment, but we are keeping an eye on what looks to be another small area of rotation here in Tuscola County. Now, we're still experiencing some minor issues here with the MAX system, but it does appear that the tornado warning has now since expired at 3:30 p.m., so that will be here in just a couple of seconds, so it's likely going to expire here for us. And what that means is if you are anywhere that was underneath of this tornado warning at any point today, you are in the all clear from this specific storm. One thing I want to point out here, let's zoom out and let's go back out we'll look at our reflectivity, which is essentially looking at the rain that we have here on your pinpoint Doppler. You can see two large severe thunderstorm warnings and two areas of heavy rain that we're keeping an eye on. Let's pause this right now. Here's the original tornado warned storm. And again, that tornado warning is set to expire. There is still some very weak rotation right in this area here that will continue to move into Sanilac County. Now, as well, we're keeping an eye on this storm back here between Vassar and Mayville. More heavy rain in there, potentially some hail, also some very weak rotation. So if you are in Mayville, just because that tornado warning has expired, you are not necessarily in that all clear just yet because we do still have this small storm here that is rotating. So we're keeping an eye on this. And right now, again, there's no indication from the National Weather Service that there is anything suggesting that a tornado is imminent at this time. It does not appear that that tornado touched down at any time. But again, we're still keeping an eye, and we've got some things coming in here from the National Weather Service. These all appear to be related to the special marine warning, so we don't have anything as far as an update from the National Weather Service right now. This is a look across all of mid-Michigan, what we're keeping an eye on. Again, we do have the two severe thunderstorm warnings for Tuscola, Lapeer, and Sanilac County for storms that aren't necessarily imminently producing a tornado, but we do still have a little bit of rotation in here. And across the rest of the area, we've got a cold front coming through with the showers and storms along them. Essentially, what we're keeping an eye on is the fact that some of these are heavy enough to continue to produce some chances for some stronger winds, some hail, and again, some rotation in there for us as well. Let's take another look at these on a zoom in look here. And again, you can see a couple of the stronger storms moving throughout the area. Again, at this time, there is no indication that we have any imminent tornado threat for parts of mid-Michigan. There are no active tornado warnings anymore at this time, though we do still have this area of rotation that is between Vassar and Mayville moving towards M24. So we are keeping an eye on this right now. So, Matt, I think at this point, given the fact that we don't have a tornado warning or anything imminent at this time, the only thing that we have are maybe some weak circulations that I don't think are going to be any nuisance to us in the near term. So I think at this point, we're probably safe to let you guys go.
Yeah, I'd say we're going to sign off here in just about a minute. That tornado warning has officially expired. So that tornado warning that was in northern Lapeer County, that is now gone. We still have our 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. So yeah, Kyle, we'll go ahead and sign off here. We'll keep an eye on these storms, and we'll keep you updated on Facebook in the meantime. And if anything does happen to redevelop with these, or if another tornado warning is issued, we'll go ahead and hop back onto the air.
That's absolutely right. Thanks, guys.
Return to your regular scheduled program.